Shalom, Shalom, and welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. I'd like to introduce to you a series of brief messages regarding things that are critical for end times. Additional things that I've brought up, and some will be a repeat. But I want to present this series called In Line. And I'm going to talk about things that I believe are critical. You be the judge. Let's dive into it. This segment is entitled Recognizing the Least. The Least. Yashar'al. There's no doubt that chaos, civil unrest, economic upheaval, and many other stressful times are ahead with climate change and other things. We must begin to identify that at some point we will be moving, dislocated, relocated, or gathered back to the promised land as written in Scripture. But how many of us have discussed the order of service? Do you think it's wise to not think about those that are least among us? It's time for us to consider the children, the disabled, the elderly, the handicapped, recognizing the least, even when it comes to developing a set-apart awakening nation. There's a lot of envy and desires to be teachers and leaders and mores and pastors and bishops. But how much attention is given to those that are least among us? Let me present a few slides. This will be brief, my brothers and sisters. Come with me to Matthew 25:40 through 46. Matthew 25:40 through 46. It reads, "And the sovereign shall answer and say to them, Truly I say to you, in so far as you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you did it to me. He shall then also say to those on the left hand, Go away from me, accursed ones, into everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his messengers. For I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, you gave me no drink. I was a stranger, and you did not take me in. Was naked, and you did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and you did not visit me. Then they also shall answer him, saying, Master, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not serve you? Then he shall answer them, saying, Truly I say to you, insofar as you did not do it to one of the least of these, you did not do it to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life." The least. We take so much for granted, my brothers and sisters. Let us begin to recognize the least among us, inquire of them, seek out their needs, seek out their understanding of what is expected and what must be done. Come with me to Galatians 6:1 through 9. And you've heard me read it before, but let me read it again for reinforcement. Galatians 6:1 through 10 says this, "Brothers, if a man is overtaken in some trespass, you, the spiritual ones, set such a one straight in the spirit of meekness, looking at yourself, lest you be tried too." It said a brother overtaken in some trespass. Could it be they were among the least, the most vulnerable among us? What are we doing to help them? It said, "Bear one another's burden and so complete the Torah of Messiah. For if anyone thinks himself to be somebody when he is not, he deceives himself. But let each one examine his own work, that he shall have boasting in himself alone and not in another. For each one shall bear his own burden." That's not saying be selfish and just bear the burden regarding just you. Continue reading and hear what it says. It says, "Let him who is instructed in the word and all that is good with him who is instructing." So as the Messiah, as the word of Yahuwah that comes in Yahusha's name, instruct us. Let us bear the burdens of one another. For it is said, "To much one receive, much is expected, much is required." It is also said how teachers will get greater judgment. Let us recognize the least among us. How do you think we can successfully come together as a set-apart nation in unity if we neglect or continue to take for granted he who is least among us? It says, do not be led astray. The Almighty One is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, he shall also reap. Because he who sows his own flesh shall reap corruption from the flesh. But he who sows to the Spirit shall reap everlasting life from the Spirit. Let us not lose heart in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not grow weary. So then, as we have occasion, let us do good to all, especially to those who are in the household of belief. Yashar'al, Yashar'al. Let me also read Hebrews 13, 1 through 3. Come with me to Hebrews chapter 13, verse 1 through 3. It reads, let brotherly love continue. Do not forget strangers, for by doing some have unwittingly entertained messengers. Remember the prisoners as if chained with them, and those being mistreated, since you yourselves also are in the body of Mashiach, the set-apart nation of Yashar'al. I am being pressed to present the need to think about those that are least, from our children to those newly awakened. Let us ask them and inquire of them. Let us examine them. Let us recognize their needs and provide to them what has been given to us regarding set-apartness, regarding strength to endure what is about to unfold during these last times. That's all I have for now, O Yashar'al. Recognize the least among us and be prepared to do for them. Let us be prepared to do for them as directed by the Almighty Father. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. There's more to come with Inline, and these series will be brief, my brothers, my sisters. And of course, it's a matter of opinion. My prayer is that you discern the life and anything that is good presented in this message, that you can consider subscribing, sharing, and like. For in doing so, yes, it helps the algorithm, but it helps spread the words of encouragement. Thank you again, my brother, my sister, my family. On that note, Shalum to you. Shalum.